The symbiote is already waiting for Peter Parker. It's still sitting right there on the bar top when Venom's mid-credits scene fades out. No one so much as reaches for it. Symbiotes bond with a type: isolation, unresolved grief, rage that's got nowhere left to go. That's the emotional profile they're built to hunt for, and Peter walks straight into Brand New Day fitting every box: no apartment worth calling home, no name people trust, every relationship from before No Way Home wiped out in a single spell. Fans point out the suit wouldn't need to corrupt someone starting from zero. It just needs someone already standing at the edge, and Peter's been standing there since the moment MJ forgot his name. The suit isn't the villain here. It's just the last push. Doctor Strange's spell only covered the damage. Multiverse of Madness picks up with reality already tearing at the seams, universes colliding faster than anyone predicted. Which only makes sense if the damage started before that movie even began. Fans think the spell was never sealing anything shut, more like a patch slapped over a wound mid-collapse, while people and problems from other realities slipped through the gap it left open. That kind of fix doesn't hold forever. Across the MCU since then, the same small glitches keep surfacing: deja vu conversations, objects that feel slightly off, strangers who feel oddly familiar with zero explanation for why. None of it ever got resolved. It just went quiet, and quiet isn't the same thing as gone. MJ still remembers Peter Parker. Go back to the coffee shop scene closing out No Way Home. Peter introduces himself as if they've never met, and for a beat, MJ just stops. Not a blink and miss it moment.
My name is Peter Parker, and I would like a coffee.
She holds on his face a little too long, like she's scanning for something that should be there and isn't. Memory magic in this universe has never actually erased anything cleanly. Wanda's hex snapped and left visible scars behind in Westview. The TVA reset entire timelines, and people still carried emotional weight from lives that technically never happened. Strange's own spell was already unstable by the time it finished, and an unstable spell was never going to guarantee a clean wipe. The theory holds that names and faces disappeared, but the instinct to trust Peter never did. She doesn't know why she feels it, she just does. Peter Parker is becoming more violent. Compare the kid holding back in Civil War, careful even mid-fight, to the version who corners the Green Goblin in No Way Home, pinning him down, hands raised, seconds from finishing him for good. Two movies apart, and it barely reads as the same person. Supporters point out the shift lines up with everything he loses. May's death breaks something loose. His fights get messier. After that, harder hits, less restraint, fewer moments where he actually pulls back. Every setback nudges the line a little further, and by Brand New Day, there's nobody left in his life to notice when he crosses it. In the comics, the symbiote doesn't manufacture that aggression out of nothing. It just speeds up a process already running. The MCU's been quietly writing that exact runway for years. Mr. Negative was the real villain all along. In the comics, Martin Lee lives a split identity: a respected philanthropist by day, a corrupting crime boss by night, and his corruption spreads through physical contact with anyone unlucky enough to touch him. Lee's charity, Feast, is the same organization May Parker worked for, a connection the MCU planted years before anyone knew where A Brand New Day was heading. Some fans point out Negative's ability specifically targets people who are already fractured: grief, guilt, identity loss, exactly the state Peter's in after losing everyone he trusted in one spell. If the symbiote theory is also true, Peter could be dealing with two separate corruptions working on him at once, and neither one needs an introduction. He's already primed for both. Matt Murdock never needed memory to know who Spider-Man is. None of that comes down to Strange's spell. The spell wipes cognitive memory, names, dates, faces people consciously recall. It doesn't rewire how someone experiences the world physically, and Matt Murdock doesn't identify people through memory in the first place. He reads heartbeats, breathing patterns, vocal stress, the specific rhythm of how someone moves. He's cross-examined Peter in a courtroom. He's heard his voice crack under real pressure. He's fought beside him in costume. Watch how Matt handles himself in No Way Home, catching a flying brick out of the air without flinching. reacting to nothing like it's nothing. That's not someone meeting Peter Parker for the first time. That's someone performing calm. The theory says the next time that voice cracks under real stress near him, Matt puts it together instantly. Recognition doesn't need memory when the senses never forgot in the first place. Kingpin already runs the city. Damage control operates with a level of access that shouldn't be possible for a standard federal outfit, instant police cooperation, open media channels, and response times to Spider-Man's exact location that suggests someone's coordinating from above the org chart. Fans think that someone is Wilson Fisk, working quietly enough that his name never comes up while he keeps a quiet hold on exactly what Peter would need if he ever tried clearing his name, the courts, the precincts, the press, City Hall. Peter's already lost his lawyer, his support system, and any credibility his name used to carry. Fisk doesn't need a manhunt. He just needs every door out to stay closed, and Peter won't even realize he's cornered until he tries walking through one. Homecoming already planted Miles Morales in the MCU. Aaron Davis mentions a nephew in New York, then names him Miles in a deleted scene. One cut line, never followed up, sitting untouched for years while the rest of the MCU moved on without him. Which means somewhere in the same city Peter's falling apart in, a teenager named Miles is watching it happen in real time. A guy he's idolized for years, publicly outed, isolated, and getting more careless with every appearance. Fans think when Miles and Peter finally cross paths, it won't play like a passing of the torch moment. It'll land more like a cautionary tale, watched up close, about exactly what it costs to keep fighting after losing everything that made the fight worth it. The multiverse is still broken, it just stopped making headlines. Nearly everything the MCU has released since No Way Home quietly flashes the same warning signs, timelines spilling into one another, incursions speeding up, reality fraying at the edges with nobody stepping in. What if Loki, Multiverse of Madness, different shows, same underlying fracture running through all of them, never actually addressed? Fans think Brand New Day's version of that fracture won't be another universe-ending event. It'll show up small. Peter catching sight of a version of himself that doesn't match his own memories. A voice from somewhere that technically doesn't exist. A stranger's face that registers as familiar for reasons he can't place. Other Spider-Men bleeding in at the margins of his own reality, one flicker at a time, with nobody around him tracking any of it. Brand New Day is setting up Secret Wars. Peter's already standing exactly where the story needs him. He's been ground zero for Marvel's biggest continuity-shaking events without fail. Civil War split the entire hero community around him, Infinity War and its fallout reshaped the universe around his mentor, and No Way Home cracked the multiverse wide open around his own identity. Fans aren't willing to call that a coincidence. Add up where things stand right now. Fractured realities nobody's repaired. An identity that's completely unraveled. Zero coordination between the people who'd normally handle a crisis this size, and multiverse corruption spreading with no oversight anywhere in sight. Peter's sitting dead center of every piece of it, and he still has no idea what he's actually looking at. Strange's spell only ever covered the whole. It was never actually closed, and whatever slipped through during those final seconds of casting hasn't gone anywhere. It's still out there, unnoticed, waiting.